Here is part two to Bob Crane. Now, like I said, he was starting to grow this collection of home videos that he starred in and these pictures, and he would show them to a lot of different people. But this would start getting out to producers and higher ups at the show that he was working on. And after 6 seasons, Hogan's Heroes would come to an end, but this would leave Bob in a predicament. He wasn't getting roles anymore, and majority of it was because of what he was doing with these women. Bob soon realized that he was nowhere near as famous as he had been several years prior, and so he started taking dinner shows and doing that, trying to build his way back to the top. In fact, right before his murder, he called his son and told him that he was getting rid of his friends. He was going to divorce Patty, his new wife. He was going to restart everything so he could build his way back up to the top. Then on June 29th of 1978, Bob's dinner party co-star, Victoria Ann Barry, walked into his apartment when he didn't show up to a meeting, and she found him bludgeoned to death on his bed. He was living in an apartment in Scottsdale, Arizona at the time. Here's where the case gets kind of confusing. It seems like the Scottsdale Police Department didn't have a homicide division at the time, and they weren't really well equipped to deal with an investigation of this size. Bob's son says that he was escorted onto the scene and they took no precautions to preserving any of the evidence that could have been at the scene. In researching this case, there's not a lot of evidence that I can find. His cause of death was a blunt force trauma to the head, and it doesn't appear that police have officially discovered what the murder weapon was, but they do believe that it was a camera tripod. But police did quickly hone in on one person of interest, and that was John Carpenter. There were several witnesses who had seen John and Bob out to dinner the night before, and some did say that there was an argument between them. On top of that, Bob's son said that he was getting ready to end the friendship between him and John. So some people believe that maybe John went into a rage and murdered Bob because of this. Police also took a look at John's car, and there were several blood smears in his vehicle. They did type these. There wasn't like DNA testing at the time, but they did blood type them, and it did match Bob's blood type. John and Bob were the only known people to have been in the car at the time, so it really did kind of link up to maybe he was the suspect. But there was no other real evidence pointing towards John, so police refused to file charges. I'm gonna have to do one more part. Give me a couple more minutes. It'll be up and down in the comments.